Hello and welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport, and I've just finished watching the Portland ePrix. I actually stayed up for the start time, which was like 1 in the morning, and when you're staying up that late to watch a race, you better damn well hope it's a good one. And this was an interesting race. It brings up some very good points. Formula E has a problem, and we've been watching the older races going back about 7 years. It never really seems to come up then, so it's a relatively new problem. But this drafting thing is really starting to take the mick. This race was ridiculous. It was, there was a safety car period because Nico Müller had a massive crash. Very scary looking accident, and luckily he was alright. But the actual race wasn't really any different to the safety car period. It was very, very strange. Everyone's staying bunched up in a pack because no one wants to lead because it uses too much energy. So Nick Cassidy led the majority of the race and he won. So I guess he didn't use that much energy. But he drove so slowly, trying to let people pass so he could follow them, and no one would, so everyone was just going really slowly. It's bizarre. It's stupid. It's not a race. No one's racing each other. No one's trying to win until the last 10 laps or so. I really think they need to sort this out somehow, although I'm not sure how. Because what do? Do you have like a minimum speed they have to do? Or if you just say, look, we know what's going on, if you're doing this, you're going to get a penalty. Or maybe just give them more energy so that they're not going to run out. Maybe don't race at circuits that have a lot of straight bits. This was an actual circuit in Portland, instead of the usual street circuits they normally race on. But if it doesn't work, then don't do that. Get a street circuit and just have loads of corners, because they can't be trusted to actually treat the race like an actual race. There's lots of contact, lots of bumping off each other, and I guarantee we saw more overtaking in this race than we do an entire Formula 1 season. That can be a positive, and I will say the last 10 laps were very, very good. When Da Costa peeled off and started to pull out a bit of a lead, and Cassidy had to chase him, and we got Jake Dennis behind him as well. Buemi, Evans were up there, Bird, who didn't hit Evans this time, which is an improvement for Jaguar. When the race was actually a race, it was very good. It's just, it took way too long to get to that point, and what we got for the majority of the race was just stupid. I think the only solution would be to give them more power, and that kind of removes the power-saving element of the racing that Formula E is kind of what it's about. But I don't really see another solution to it, other than making the races shorter, which again is the same thing. But this can't go on. This is just ridiculous. And as I said, there was a lot of contact, a lot of bits and pieces falling off. A lot of people had damaged front wings. So, I mean, that's not good for racing either. Although in Formula E, it matters less than in Formula 1 because they can run without all the aerodynamics. But, honestly, yeah, as I said, it overtakes. I think at the halfway stage, I think Robin Freins had like 24 or 25 overtakes or something. So you got to think the field in total had well over 100. I don't know how many overtakes you get in a Formula 1 season. I don't think it's really that many. I mean, when you see like the overtake statistics for a Formula 1 race, someone usually has the most overtakes with 4 or 5, not 25 at the halfway point. I honestly, by the end, it must be near 400 or 500. There was just because it was just swapping constantly, because it just grouped up on the straights and everyone was just. You'd get 5 or 6 cars lined up next to each other, trying not to be the car in front at the apex. So, yeah, I mean, if you wanted overtaking, you get it, I guess. And as I said, once the action, we got to the last 10 laps and they started to actually race, Nick Cassidy took another win. Very good for Envision, very good for Cassidy's championship. Da Costa in second. He's not really in the title fight, and I'm sure Porsche would have preferred Pascal Wehrlein being up there. I think he got some damage at some point and he dropped well back. I think he finished 9th. So it was a bad race for Wehrlein's title challenge. Dennis was right up there, so his title charge is still going. Mitch Evans was in 4th, so it's a bit of a recovery for him. Bird and Buemi were up there supporting their teammates. And there's a few, I mean, not unusual point scorers, but I think Lucas Di Grassi was in the first. I think it's the first time he's been in the points since the first race. So it's been a long time since Di Grassi scored points anyway, and he managed it here. I think Norman Nato finished 10th, and I don't think he's scored too many points this year. I think Fenestraz qualified on the front row, but he just seemed to disappear. I don't even remember seeing him. And the Maseratis were up there at one point as well, but I'm not sure. I think one of them finished in the points, but I don't know if they both did. Wehrlein was 9th. Yeah, Nato 10th. And then the usual suspects down below. It was interesting seeing the DS Penske cars starting from the back, because I think, honestly, Vern explained it and I didn't really understand, I will admit. They got caught with some kind of scanner on the car which lets them know which set of tyres they're using. I think the allegation was that this scanner was somehow telling them what everyone was doing, like power wise, and like they were getting like data from it. And then I think when Vern was explaining it, he said we weren't getting any information from it that was actually useful, so why have it on the car? But somehow it broke the rules. They were disqualified from qualifying and they had to start from the pit lane. Interestingly, it didn't really seem to help them, which you'd think it would if being at the back is kind of the idea of what everyone else is trying to do as well. They were sort of in the mid-pack towards the end, but they used too much energy to get there and drop back. Not sure how that happened, but Vern's title challenge has really taken a knock in the last couple of races, and this did not help. And he's still in it, but he's probably too far away now. I think he's like 53, 54 points behind Cassidy. So, I mean, there's 4 races left. I mean, with poles and fastest laps as well, it's hard to say anyone's out of it. But I think Vern would have to do very, very well and get a lot of luck. So I think realistically it's between the top 4: Cassidy, Dennis, Wehrlein and Evans. I think it's pretty tight between the 4 of them. I think it's a 20 to 30 point spread, so it makes the next round very interesting, which I think is in a few weeks time. Italy, I think it's Italy than London. We've only got 4 races left anyway, I know that much. And we're getting to the end of the Formula E season. It's been really good, but this has plagued it all year. This drafting, trying to save energy, the pack in its entirety going slowly. It's just silly. And they need to do something about it. I'm not entirely sure what, but I know some of my subscribers are incredibly intelligent. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. How would you fix this issue? And, you know, honestly, email the FIA and apply for a job, because they need some bright minds working there. They clearly do not have enough of them. So yeah, thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and thank you to everyone who has recently. And I'll be back soon, and we'll finish watching the 2nd season of Formula E at some point. I am working on those videos, so they'll be out eventually. Yeah, have a good one.